Today I'm talking to Josh Dotoli with Compass in Fort Lauderdale, an expert in everything in his community centered around Las Olas. He's a frequent contributor to ABC News Local 10 on real estate in South Florida. He was recently recognized by South Florida Business and Wealth magazine with the 2018 Up and Comer Award. Among his many top producer awards throughout his career, he is consistently a top 1% agent in Broward County. Since his last interview on the show just a year ago, he has more than doubled his business. Today, we talk about the 4 key steps that more than doubled his business in less than a year. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship. All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. And today we have Josh Dotoli with the Dotoli Group in Compass in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jere, thanks for having me back.
So good to have you here. So everybody, we brought Josh back because he's a great agent, first of all, but also I really wanted to talk to him today and talk to you today, Josh, about the fact that he was a top agent when we interviewed a year ago, and a year later, he is a top agent, but now he's got double the business. He's just closed on a transaction, the third highest sale for condominiums in Florida, represented both sides of that transaction, and talk about what he did then and what he's doing now that's different to get you where you are today. So, Josh, before we go into all that, tell us a little bit, just to give everybody a refresher of how long you've been in the business and why you got into the business.
Thanks, Jere. So I've been in the business 7 years. This is actually my first career. So I've always had an interest in real estate. My dad, he was a builder developer, so I grew up around construction and being on the job site. And in college, I studied marketing and econ, and I love the entrepreneurial aspect of the business. I love that there's really no ceiling in this business, and every day is different. So for me, there was really no other option than to go into real estate sales.
Every day is definitely different. I love how you've got the end and the side in the business of you've gone into this business, you've known this business from the ground and from building properties, which gives you a lot of insight with your dad growing up. And on the flip side of that, especially in today's age, technology and digital marketing are so key and so important, and that's where your major is. So, of course, you've hopped into this business, and 7 years later, doing incredibly well. Tell us a little bit about in the beginning, and we're going to transition from kind of in the beginning in your business and now. I always like to ask people, what is it that makes your business different? What makes you stand out in such a competitive industry, and how has that changed over the years?
That's a great question. So we are very hyper-local in our market. So we focus on East Fort Lauderdale. It's a few mile radius. We've got high-rise condominiums on the beach, and we've got a ton of fantastic waterfront property. Fort Lauderdale has 149 miles of waterways. Wow. It's the boater's dream. Wow. It's also known as the Venice of America. So if you're a boater, you definitely know about Fort Lauderdale. And Fort Lauderdale has become really attractive for people looking at South Florida now. We're seeing a lot of people who are choosing Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami. It's more affordable, and it just offers kind of in my opinion, a better way of life.
Wow. Okay.
So what we've done is we've really owned the Fort Lauderdale brand. My tag is we live, love, and sell Fort Lauderdale. So all of our advertising is here in Fort Lauderdale. It's a very niched area, and we've just become experts in Fort Lauderdale. And, people have really noticed that, and that's helped us tremendously just in the last 18 months.
I love to hear that, because that's when my business took off, when I decided one day, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the market I'm going to know, and this is where I'm going to specialize. And suddenly I was doing more. Everybody's afraid to claim their specialty or claim what they're good at, which means you're also it's also hard to claim what to be good at. So you end up being a jack of all trades. But that being said, when did you decide to make that focus? Did that have, because I know there are a lot of other things that we're going to talk about that did make the shift, but was that part of the shift of you doubling your business, or was that something you did before? Okay.
Yeah, it was. And I would say probably 12 months. I would say about a year, 18 months is when really just said, hey, I thought about, okay, well, what do I love selling? Well, I love selling waterfront. I'm a waterfront guy. I'm a boater. I live on the water. So, okay, that makes sense. And I love selling really nice high-rise condos, right? So those two products get me excited. So if I'm excited, it's going to translate off to my clients.
Right.
Okay. And then I thought about it. Well, really, I don't like going down to Miami, and I don't like going up to Boca. Okay. So I'm going to focus where I live and where I sell. And it's just been that simple. And it's not that big of a market. So if you're, people start seeing your name, people start seeing your listings, and it's the domino effect. 2 listings went to 5 to 10, to 15, because people see you as the expert, and everybody wants the expert in this market.
In every market, actually, but especially the higher the price point, the better it pays, the more important it is that you know what you're doing and that you are specializing in that market. I'd love to hear that, and we're going to go into that more. We talked about a little bit before, and we talked before, and we do a lot of business together, but we talked about there were basically, including the niche and honing in on your market, 3 more things that really were the game changers for you to double your business. I'm going to run through them, if you don't mind, and then you let me know if we're leaving something out. But number 1, it was focusing on your niche. Number 2 was get a good assistant. Number 3 was delegate everything. And number 4 was double down on your marketing. So I'd love for us today to talk about those 4 things, unless, are we missing anything in that list?
No, in a nutshell, that's it. I mean, I feel we talked a little bit about the niche and just kind of like honing that market, having a consistent message on all of my marketing, whether it's outdoor marketing, whether it's print, and digital. So everything is it's very cohesive. I have a consistent message, and I send everybody back to one place, which is our website.
Cohesive, consistent marketing that all goes back to one place, your website.
Right. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Right. So the next component was hiring the assistant, and really.
Wait, I'm not going to let you get that fast. We got to talk about this niche more, because this is a real hang up for a lot of people. Here's why. Okay. Here's what a lot of our listeners or a lot of agents say to me. Josh can do a niche. He's been an agent for 7 years. Josh doesn't need. Josh doesn't need to get every deal that comes his way. Or if I just claim a niche, if I just claim whether it's a neighborhood of type of house, that means I'm saying no to so much business. Tell us a little bit about, did you have any of those challenges when you shifted from where you were a couple of years ago to where you are now, very specific? What in your mind got you, because obviously you didn't think of it 7 years ago, what in your mind got you to the place where you recognize that, and did you do it and feel it and do it, or how did that happen?
Well, I think if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're saying yes to going to work some business that is totally out of your territory, you're saying no to working some business that could possibly be in your territory that you may just have not uncovered because you're out doing whatever 25 miles away, where that's going to be one sale. But what's the likelihood of that being 2, 3, 4, 5 sales? It's not going to be likely. And so I think it's a mind shift of saying, okay, well, this is where I want to focus. This is where I want to be the expert. And truly, if someone wants to work with you and it's a little bit outside, they may just say, hey, do you mind just handling this for me? And sure, but it's just about being in that niche area, because it's consistency is king. And if people consistently see you in a market where, in your market, in my market, in every market, we're flooded with real estate agents.
Right.
We have 90,000 real estate agents in the Tri-County area between Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami. 90,000.
Wow.
People want an expert.
Yeah, 90,000 agents. Well, the good news is the barrier, what's the bad and good? The barrier to entry is low, so our competition isn't as stiff as sometimes we like to convince ourselves it is. Tell us a little bit too, because I've had a similar experience, obviously to yours. When you decided to go, okay, this is my market, this is my niche. How did that change what your listing appointments looked like? What was the before and after? You go to a listing appointment, you don't know the market, you don't know the neighborhood, you don't know the people, you don't know the sales, and you go to a listing appointment and you do, and you didn't have to learn them.
When you go to a listing appointment and you already know the numbers, you're not selling yourself. You're focusing on the client, their needs, and how to successfully get them to where they want to be. Because you're so sure of yourself that if they drop in a question on this or that, you don't need to look at your notes. You don't need, because you know the numbers. Or when you're explaining to them, okay, well, when you're talking about their plan, you're able to drop in facts. Whereas if you're trying to pitch in a market that you don't know, you're very focused on your presentation and making sure you get every slide. And it's just, our clients see through it. And our clients know when you're the expert and when you're not.
And again, I love what you said. In a listing appointment, you come into a listing appointment focused on your client, their needs, and how to get them where they want to be.
Sure.
And nobody's trained that way, by the way. We're all trained on these listing presentations that we pay so much money to show everybody how great we are, when our clients don't care how great we are. They care that we're focused on them, their needs, and can get them where they want to be. Beautiful.
I was on a pitch last week for an $11 million listing. And halfway through the listing, I'm like, what are you doing? You're focusing too much on the book. So I closed the book and I just said, are we good with this? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, let's talk about your goals. How quickly do you want to sell this property? What can we do? And it was just such a conversation shift and such an energy shift. And it went fantastic. And we got the business because we got out of the presentation. It's there, but that should not lead your presentation. No. It should be in addition to, or send it before.
Well, I was going there. I send it before so they've got the information for you. And then do you have any questions about that? Great. Let's talk about you. Do you have any questions about me? Let's talk about you. Yeah.
And you can cut down the appointment by 30 to 40 minutes.
That too. Exactly. Yeah. Because they really don't. If you're there because they believe in you. There are 90,000 agents in your area. I mean, I know that's the Tri-County area, but still 90,000 agents, and they picked you. They're feeling pretty good about you.
Right.
You just need to make them feel about good you with them.
I like to show the sellers where the buyer's coming from, and that's been a great niche of ours, and we do a lot of research up front so we can go and we can show, Mr. Seller, where have the last 100 buyers come from.
Okay.
And then we can target our marketing strategy
to
reach those buyers.
Tell us a little bit about, like, let's say the listing appointment you went on the other day where you kind of stopped halfway through. Are you good with this? That buyer, where do you get that research? How do you have?
You have to do it. You have to do it manually. You have to go on the MLS. You have to see, okay, well, what properties closed. Then you go on the tax records. You find out, okay, well, what is the name of them? And then you search them. There's a lot of different software out there, and you search one by one, and you find out, okay, well, where are these people coming from? And then you find a pattern, and then you can target your strategy. And in an age where everybody's pitching international, what I find is most of the buyers are not international, especially in my market in Fort Lauderdale.
And now you've got the data to support it.
So if I'm pitching against somebody who's saying international, I'm a genius when I go and I say international, and there's no buyers coming from there, right? And so it's just leading with research. It's just leading with numbers.
Well, not only that. Well, I don't, and I want you to answer. I have the answer, but it's your interview. But I will say this: like, when you're in these interviews, you're doing the research to find the pattern of the buyer. So you literally go in the tax records and go, okay, buyer name, Google, and find out. Do you create a spreadsheet to show them, or do you just kind of have the data? Now, Josh, if you're not paying attention, how can you answer my questions? How can you answer my
It's
like?
Jeff. He was saying hello to you.
I feel like I'm in the tell Jeff that he's got to go get in the corner right now. Tell him to come and get on the screen and say hi to me. Where is he?
He's
Hi,
on the phone.
Jeff. Oh, well, tell him hi.
Yes, it's very time intensive. We do buyer by buyer. Yes,
That's awesome.
It's very time intensive, but there's nobody else doing it.
So that's awesome. This is why I love this show. I love this stuff. So once you go through and you go buyer by buyer and you go to that presentation, 2 questions. Do you present the data or you just know it and tell them? That's the first question. I'll let you answer that and then I have another one.
Absolutely, I present it. And I show them based on where, what sections of the country the buyer's coming from and how many came from that section.
Okay, I'm emailing you for that. I just want to see what that looks like because
I'd be happy to share it with you.
Genius. Mm-hmm. I always do give that talk, but it's like because I know the neighborhood. Like I know everybody. I just know where they move and who they are and where they came from. The next question for you is when you talk about targeting the marketing for that buyer, how are you doing that? And what do you mean by that? Like, okay, we're going to target to the buyer. Well, what are you going to do to make sure that the property gets in front of that buyer?
I'm going to reach out to the agents in that market.
Okay.
Because most people who are purchasing a $5 or $10 million property have a broker relationship.
Exactly.
Right. So.
And do you do any focus on, for example, like we're feeder markets to one another. We have a lot of business going between us, your market to mine, my market to yours. If I've got a buyer coming, like in a presentation, you've got buyers coming from different cities. Well, now we have the network tool at Compass, which everybody knows this isn't a Compass commercial, but it's kind of key. Is that something that we do is we go and say, okay, these buyers are coming from these cities and we know multiple agents in these markets that we're going to reach out to and make sure we have visibility in the feeder markets and to those agents as well as agents here that are present in Atlanta.
Absolutely. That's a focal part of our presentation.
Exactly.
We show not only, okay, well, where does the buyer come from? Great. And how do we get to that buyer?
Exactly.
And so we show them. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we leverage is our broker relationships in the feeder markets.
Right.
Because it is so important.
And then we've got and the network tool, because the thing is, if I don't have a relationship with them, I can still find them with our tool. Also targeted marketing, social media. Do you guys do any of that, or what? Just give me. Yeah, let me stop talking. Tell me. Just give me like 3 key things you do to target your buyer when you've got a listing.
So we have it's a 3-pronged strategy. It's print, digital, and brokers. And so the print is local and our sellers expect it, and we have a big print presence, and it does help with our listing business.
Okay.
We have a social strategy where we'll go ahead and we'll actually, we'll target based on our information on where the buyers are coming from.
Okay.
So we're going to run targeted ads. We just produced this lifestyle video for one of our condo listings, and it was like a day in the life of living in this building. We had Ferraris, we had boats. It was sexy. It was fun.
Yeah.
We had over 100,000 views on this.
Okay.
So it did really, really well when we targeted in the Northeast. So I was very happy with that. And then we have a very strong, strong broker outreach where we're personally reaching out to brokers who are doing business in our feeder markets, and we're getting our properties in front of them. And it's not an e-blast where we blast it to 100,000 people. We're strategically reaching out to agents who do business or who have clients who would probably be interested in Fort Lauderdale.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so now we'll go to number 2. So number 1 was niche, to double your business, and we say double. You've more than doubled your business, and it's still growing.
More than double,
and you're breaking
sales
absolutely.
records. We're just getting started.
Exactly. So the next one we talked about, or you talk about, is getting a good assistant. Tell us a little bit about that.
For sure. Well, this is her. This is Carolyn. Say
hi, Carolyn. Now we see who keeps it. Carolyn, make him look at the camera and behave himself. No more turning away from the camera. We'll keep. We 20 more minutes. Let's see if that's true. All right, go ahead.
Yes. So that's
and thank you, Carolyn. Anyway, so good assistant.
it takes time, but it's the backbone of our business, and keeping things organized, and keeping our marketing forward, and really making sure that the things that we need to do on the back end are getting done, and it allows me to focus on what I'm good at, which is sales. So every day I'm able to just focus on sales, and I'm trying to move the needle with all of our prospects. I really don't worry about anything else. And if you can find a really solid assistant who buys into your culture and enjoys coming to work every day, it's really going to help your business.
So how do you know when you have, well, I know how you know when you have a good assistant, but how do you know you're hiring a good assistant? I don't think anybody ever knows that either, but what did you look for? Like, how did you know Carolyn was your girl? How did you find her?
I knew Carolyn would be an excellent assistant because of her corporate training. She came from the enterprise, program. They have some of the best training for young professionals out of college.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I saw that, I knew that, she's coming with some really strong corporate training, which I don't have any experience on giving training. It's not what I went to school for. So I wanted somebody that I didn't have to really train, except on the actual, tools that we're using here at Compass and on my business. I didn't want to have to train on personal skills and how to answer the phone and email etiquette and all that. I wanted that done already.
So how do you two communicate? I think that's a big thing in having an assistant is, how often do you communicate? How does she know what to do? How do you know what she's doing? Well, not that you need to know what she's doing, but how do you know she's not missing any? I mean, how does that all come together for you with your assistant?
That's all of that is always a work in progress, and always working to get better on those things. But, on most days we'll have a quick morning meeting and just talk about, hey, what's pressing. And at the end of the day, we'll talk about, what's rolling over. I'm trying to really utilize our calendar more. And that way, we really don't miss anything.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
We have systems in place for our contract deadlines. She has access to all of my emails, access to just about everything. So it's pretty hard for something to slip through the cracks for both of us.
So what systems do y'all use? Is it a CRM or is it something else? Or obviously, and then there's the Compass collections and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So she runs all of that. We use the Compass CRM, which is good, and we try and use all of those tools so it's in one concise place, and we're not having to do. I find some of the other CRMs it's just too cumbersome.
Yeah, Contactually is one we use. So when Compass bought Contactually, that was kind of nice, right? I don't think the two are merged yet, so we're still kind of using both. But all right, so good assistant. Really, it's get somebody who's corporate trained. You said enterprise training. What is enterprise training?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think
send
it's
someone
important
to
to know what are
enterprise
their
training?
goals and where do they want to be in a couple of years. Are they looking to be you? And if they are, that's probably not the assistant you want to hire. Exactly
right. That's key, by the way. I have found that is key. And they'll do anything to get the job, and then it doesn't work because that gets difficult. It's somebody who really likes to be organized and deliver and be an assistant and keep things organized so that you can execute. And that enjoys, I think, seeing the benefits of what they've done for the team to be able to do that as a whole. That being said, team doing things as a whole. The third one, so niche, number 1. Number 2, good assistant. Number 3, delegate everything. Tell us how you do that. That in of itself is a job.
Well, that takes time and that takes trust, but over time you build that trust and you're able to. Not everything has to be perfect, and you have to have kind of a ship it mentality. So if not, you're going to just spend so much time on one project or one task, and you could be missing out on doing 3 other projects
and what
or 3
was
other tasks.
You said the what mentality? The what?
To have the ship it mentality, as far as just ship it out.
I like
just
that.
to get
The
it
ship
out.
it mentality. That's living on the water. Or maybe I'm just in a bubble, but I've never heard the ship it mentality, but I love it. So how do you find your balance? Because I would tell you one thing I do is I get the ship it mentality. I'll get something going. I'm like, okay, guys, y'all know what to do. Get it going. And then I check back in. Where are we? And we're not. How do you find that balance of ship it mentality, but accountability and keeping everybody? How do you keep? You know what I'm asking you. How do you keep all those pieces together?
I stay on it. I stay on it and make sure that it does get out, and that we stay on our marketing team, and we have deadlines for things, and that we meet the deadlines.
Perfect. Deadlines. That's it. Deadlines and meet them. So what has been, because again, when you're doubling your business and better, what has been your biggest challenge in delegating, and how did you overcome it, and where has it gotten you now? And then we'll go to the last one.
You have to release control. You can't. There's some things that can wait, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to just allow them. Not every fire needs to be put out by the chief. That's why there is a crew. That's why there is a whole engine. And so even though the chief could put it out, you've got to let your people do it. And as long as it's not going to cause a catastrophe, that's what I'm trying to do more and more. And then also we're training our clients on who to reach out to. So I've really been able to delegate a lot of that, just client questions, and now it doesn't really go to me as much anymore. So they kind of know that Josh is there when it's important, but small things that it just doesn't.
Like getting the
I've trained them.
Getting utility information is not a question that you answer. It's a question that
no.
And how do you kind of
providing wire instructions
right.
or scheduling inspections or that? I mean, they know that, and I think they respect that too. They respect that, like, hey, this guy's he really runs it like a business.
Exactly.
And he has support for us.
Now, do you? Go ahead. Keep going.
When I'm on my presentation or when I meet with new clients, I explain to them who. Really, we're a small team. There's only 4 of us, and really 2. We have Carolyn, and then we have Ben, who's our ISA, and then we have 1 agent who kind of runs her own business within my business. So we're a very small team. But I explained to the prospective buyer or seller who my team is and what they do, mm-hmm. and it helps.
So
because then I've already set the expectation.
What does ISA mean? Ben is your
inside. Yeah, he does inside sales.
Okay.
He's our sales guy.
So he basically handles clients once you've got them, or
no.
Or he's on the phone.
He only looks for new business.
Okay. So he's
only, that's his only job. He doesn't work with current clients.
Okay. His job is solely business development. So he wins the business and passes it to the team, or how does that work?
Yeah, his job is to identify opportunities and bring me on, and then I start working it. It's just to identify.
That's awesome. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got on your team, you, Carolyn, which is your assistant. Mm-hmm. So she's all admin, all transactions.
Yep.
Scheduling. So you've got 4 people on the team. You, obviously, the team lead, rainmaker. You're the name, the face. You've got Carolyn, the assistant, running closings. I would say transactions, listings, paperwork, just making sure she's behind the scenes, keeping everything going. You've got Ben, who's out there seeking new business opportunities and bringing them to you. And then you've got another agent on the team who's generating business, and you're kind of her a little bit of a mentor, help her winning business, giving her some pretty instant credibility.
Exactly. Instant credibility is the main key.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then for Ben, I've never heard of this role on a team. I
really?
love it. No. I maybe like for a team of like 100, or a different, but I have in commercial especially, but not so much in our industry. So tell us a little bit about that role. Like do you pay him a base? Do you pay him splits?
He gets a base salary, and then he'll get a percentage of the deals.
That's awesome. Of the deals that he brings.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
And he also services our current listings. So I'll have him proactively reach out to other brokers. I'll have him work open houses. It's a very there's no wrong way to generate business. So however it can be done, I'm game. If he can put an opportunity in front of me, he'll get paid.
And ISA, what does that stand for?
Inside Sales Associate.
Oh, you said that. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
And Isaac, don't even edit it out. Just let everybody know I forgot.
But they have to be licensed.
Right.
It's very important.
So yes, obviously, yes.
Everybody on my team is licensed.
So for the ISA, they basically help service deliver for listings and clients.
Right.
They have a base, so they're basically getting paid a base for service delivery. And then while they're doing service delivery, it's giving them the opportunity to identify opportunities, business opportunities,
Absolutely.
to bring them back to the team. So their job is solely support. You don't bring your deals. You support the team, and you get paid on deals you bring.
That
So it's kind of like another assistant that's paid, and it's got a different pay structure, but also a very different role, but it's a support role.
totally different role.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I have actually had roles like that, but I love the title. That's awesome. Inside sales support. Next, last. So again, niche to double your business, or more than double and exponentially grow. Number one, you niche. Number two, you got a really good assistant. Number three, you delegate everything. And on delegating everything, remember, release control. Other people can put out
Yeah.
fires. You don't have to put them all out. And then number four is double down your marketing, which I think double down in your case could be an understatement from what I know about your marketing. But tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what it looked like before and after, and then go into the after, so we don't miss the difference.
I mean, if you're in this market, you know who I am, and that was just, I made a decision that's I'm going to double down. I have a very large marketing budget, but it's absolutely working, and I target people in a couple different places. So you can see me in outdoor advertising, like for example, bus benches. You see me in all the magazines. My boat is wrapped. It has my branding on it, and it has compass. We do a lot of digital, and we do fun stuff too. Like for example, we advertise in the Bright Line train station, and so that has a lot of
That's
passengers
a lot
every
of
day going
advertising.
from
Yeah.
Broward to Miami.
Okay.
We have an ad in the airport terminal, which is a huge ad. It's probably, my gosh, 10 by 10.
Wow.
So many people have sent me photos of that. Like they stand by it.
And your clients love that, to see
My
that.
clients love it. My clients love the benches. People sit on my benches, take photos. I mean,
That's better than the advertising. That's like branding.
We advertise like a real business, like a brick and mortar business. That's how we advertise.
That's awesome. Well, the coolest part, you tell me, I find the coolest part in doing that is when people who you already have a rapport with get excited, and you give them, it makes it easier for them to refer you and remember you, and then do selfies and put them on Facebook and get like the exponential effect or this multiplying effect of one ad all the time to build, and you're kind of building rapport and relationships with advertising.
And we've got a consistent brand message, and we're just very consistent with it. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm showing property and I've never met the other agent, and they're like, "Hey, I love your advertising."
That's awesome.
So like that's the ultimate compliment when other agents are noticing it, and
yeah.
But you got to dive in, and you got to commit to the budget that you're comfortable with, and you need to do it. You need to do it. It takes months, if not a year, to really start seeing the results. So you've got to stick with it.
And tell us about, so for your print outdoor magazines, your boat is wrapped, benches, bus benches, Bright Line station, and airport terminal. That's a huge marketing. Huge.
And we have
awesome.
spreads in all the magazines.
And spreads in all the magazines.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So on your digital, tell us a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so we're doing Instagram and Facebook. We have a really strict strategy on what we post and what's allowed on our page.
Okay.
We really want to keep it consistent with the best photography, with promoting our listings, and then we'll boost those ads around our area, and especially if we have an open house coming up, or if we have some sort of event, or it's a new listing, whatever it is, and we'll boost that around our target.
So you said you're very strict about what you allow. How do you set it sounds like you use Instagram and Facebook, and it sounds like you've got guidelines for how things are posted there.
You can go.
What are the guidelines that you do for that?
So we work with a content calendar, and every week our posts are already pre-planned, so
Okay.
we don't leave on Friday unless the next week is scheduled.
Okay.
And we don't post. It has to be professional photography. We don't post more than a certain number of images. We don't post more than a certain number of tags. We research what works, and we want our Instagram to look really, really clean and really professional.
And who's in charge of that? How do you do that? Does Carolyn do that or?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
Carolyn does that, and she has kind of a grasp of what you want to do. She creates it.
Sure,
You
and
look
I
at
approve
it.
it. I approve it, and I may want to change out a post or something, but we try and focus on like, okay, this is what's a new listing. This week we had 2 closings, we had a couple new listings, so we want to kind of sprinkle that in so it works with the schedule.
Awesome. Awesome. So everybody, if you're going to double your business, and it sounds like too, in doubling your business, it's probably has it gotten any harder to do twice as much business, or are there ways it's gotten easier, or tell us what that looks like.
Sure, it's definitely. I'm sure in your market there's a lot of luxury inventory, right? So it's not.
That's all relative, but yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's about selling the property. So now
Right.
it's one thing to get the listings, but it's the next thing to sell them. And so there's starting to be a backup of these $5-10 million properties. So
Oh yeah, Atlanta
that's
definitely.
the next step is, okay, we've got the listing. Now we got to sell the listing.
Yes. Yes.
And so I think that's the focus on how do you keep doubling your business. You have to get creative and you have to start closing these big transactions.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that you said that because that's so key. Everybody focuses on the listings, which is key, but you got to close them. You got to get closings from them. So to keep us in, I told everybody 20 more minutes about 17 minutes ago. I'm going to ask us, are you the final 3? I always ask everybody. And the first
Sure.
one I think is going to be a lot of fun with you. What do you find, especially in this realm of doubling down your business or doubling doubling is an understatement, but in doubling your business, what has been the most powerful either thing you've done or even better, what's the most powerful tool that you've implemented or that you've used to help all this stuff get traction?
So
and be
I
implemented?
have a professional coach, which I think is huge. He's been on your show many times. So I think that
Oh, can you tell who is it?
it's Jack. You know Jack very well.
Oh, Jack's awesome. That's right.
Yes.
I knew that. Of course.
So a good plug for him.
Jack is awesome. Jack Cotton, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for someone to be a little bit removed from your business to kind of look in and see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and also to talk through deals, especially in getting up in these higher price points. These people think differently, right? So being able to speak with someone who has the experience in handling these transactions, it's paramount. Last year we were recognized in the top 25 agents for Compass in Florida, going up against a lot of big teams. And
Well, Compass
really,
recruits the best of the best in every market. So to be
it
in the
is,
top 25
and so
and
to
the
be
biggest
recognized
in every
there
market.
was huge. That was a big accomplishment for us.
Wow. That's incredible. That wasn't in your bio, by the way, but you were top 3 in the tri-state area.
That when I was with when I was with my former brokerage, yes, that's
in the South Florida Business and Wealth magazine.
Yep. So I was just named, and we have the award ceremony next week. Is the up and comer for out of I don't know, there was like a couple thousand applicants.
Well, there's actually
for it.
90,000 agents, so we'll just say out of
but
3
there
out
was
of 90,000.
about 3,000 applicants for
Wow.
this award, and we did win it. So it's the up and comer award for residential real estate. So super proud of that. We'll be at a banquet, and that'll be a great accolade to add.
That's awesome. All right, book. If there's one book that's changed your business or that you would recommend.
I would say pick up Jack's book. That's a great book. I probably have it here. This is a great book.
It gives a lot of like on the ground, really great.
Yeah, it's just good.
Remind us, what is the name of his book?
It's called Selling Luxury Homes.
Selling Luxury Homes by Jack Cotton. Yeah. Go Jack. All right. And then the last question is, if there's one thing that you hope that we all take away from this interview, what would it be?
Pick a niche and own your niche.
Best advice ever. Thank you.
Yeah. Become the king or queen of your neighborhood, of your town, and from there expand out. But you can't work in. You've got to work out. It's the only way.
You've got to start with a good foundation, good strong foundation, to be able to grow from that. That's exactly what turned around my business.
Yeah, and I'm an open book. So for anybody who wants to chat or bounce ideas off or just wants to talk, you can reach me anytime.
Give us your website and your cell number.
So my website is joshdotolygroup.com.
Which everybody will share that on our website too. But go ahead, on Jere Metcalf
Perfect.
Podcast.
And then my cell is 954-290-4793. And we're happy to share anything, any of the reports, anything that we do. We're here.
You're awesome, Josh. Wow.
My pleasure. Thank you.